Temperature, winds gusting up to 35 miles an hour. And we'll see as the afternoon progresses what kind of an effect that will have. Butler looking away from Brown to Redden. Floats down at the 5, and Redden brings it out from there to about the 18. Cliff Thrift down to make the tackle. The offensive backs and receivers for the Los Angeles Rams. Dieter Brock, the quarterback. Eric Dickerson, number 29, behind him. Tony Hunter is the U-back. Henry Ellard and Ron Brown, the wide receivers. Hanky Hill, Tony Slayton, Harris Slater, and David Hill is the tight end. Rams 1st and 10 from their own 17. Henry Ellard wide to the right, Brown wide left. Dickerson back to the line of scrimmage and nothing else. Singletary met him right there. No gain.
That was an interesting thing, Pat. They shifted right into it, and Buddy Ryan, the defensive coordinator, and Fensick comes up. He ends up right here. Duerson went back, and they ran right into Fensick. Watch him. He shifted up there. Now watch your run. There's Fensick free. Gary Fensick right there, the safety, right in the hole. Fensick shifted right into the hole the Rams were going to run.
So it'll bring up a 2nd and 10. Rams from their 18. It's Dickerson again. Looking for some place and finding a little room. About 5. Mike Richardson made the stop.
Let's see if we can see that shift again. They're doing the same thing. You see, this is Duerson back here. Fensick comes up here and he's playing a linebacker. This time they get a pulling guard up here and he knocks it back. They said, I got a safety playing linebacker. Watch this. Watch Ken Hill when he comes around here. Watch the contact. Oh, right there was a right tackle, Jackie Slater.
Tyrone Keys has replaced William Perry. And Dickerson is hit behind the line of scrimmage by Steve McMichael, and the Rams will have to punt. Much to the delight of the sellout crowd at Soldier Field. This town has gone Bear mad. Dale Hatcher, the rookie from Clemson, goes back to punt. Keith Ortego back deep for the Bears. Line drive kick that Ortego will have some room to work with. Down quickly. The Rams, excellent coverage. Vince Newsom was the first man there. 34-yard punt, 1-yard return. The Bear offensive setup has McMahon at quarterback, Peyton and Suey, Galt and McKinnon wide. Covert, Bortz, Jay Hilgenberg, Thayer, Van Horn, and Emery Moorhead starts at tight end. Bears have the ball. They'll start 1st and 10, their own 44. They're going into the wind, but it's really hard to say in which direction it blows, because down on the field it really swirls around. McMahon on 1st down throws up the middle. Moorhead inside the Ram 40 to about the 37. Mel Owens tripped him up after a gain of 19.
I think McMahon throws as well or better into the wind, Pat, than he does with the wind. I think he likes those type of things. 1st down pass, they expect to run. He gets back, he's looking out there to Galt, comes back off to Moorhead, right in the middle. He picks up the 1st down.
All the way down to the Ram 41-yard line, 36-yard line, make it. Willie Galt split wide to the right. McKinnon moves in motion. McMahon to work again. To Galt. To about the 16. Gary Green after a gain of 20.
Hey, that's what they did last week. That's what they wanted to do again. Get the ball, get it to Willie Galt early, and hope he catches it. Because if he gets a ball early and catches a ball early, then he has great confidence. Watch Reggie Doss, 71, come in here and hit McMahon after he throws the ball. Boy, that'll clear out those sinuses.
In a hurry. John Robinson, the Ram head coach. First down Bears from the Rams 17. 2 straight passes. Draw play, Peyton fumble. Not sure who got it. Mike Ditka looking on from in front of the Bear bench. Well, that's something you don't see happen very often. Peyton doesn't leave it on the ground much. Covert made the recovery for Chicago.
Well, the Ram defense got some penetration, and they got to Peyton before he got to the line of scrimmage. But that's the type of thing we're talking. These are the types of things that are very subtle that the Rams do well. You know, you get going on them, you're moving, and then someone gets some penetration, makes a play like this. Look how they shut down everything. There's no place for Peyton to go.
Second down and 12. Now from the 19.
17.
Tesui. Stopped by Carl Eckern after a gain of about 4.
By Kyle Eckerd.
Let's check that Ram defensive lineup. Up front, Doug Reed. DeJournay starts, but they alternate at the nose tackle position. Reggie Goss at right end, the linebackers. And this is a good group. Owens, Eckern, Collins, and Wilcher. And the secondary, Green and Irvin, the cornerbacks, and Cromwell and Johnny Johnson, the safety men. Peyton and Gentry are now the 2 running backs. Gentry is dangerous, but he stays in the block. McMahon will take it. And takes it in. Touchdown. Touchdown scramble by Jim McMahon. One of the things that the Rams feared most of all. They were hoping to be able to shut him down. They had somebody assigned to mirror him, as they said. But the mirror broke. Butler for the extra point with Fuller holding. And it's 7-0 Bears.
Now, one thing you can't do with Jim McMahon as a quarterback, and the Rams just found it out, you can't give him a lane to run in. He looks downfield for his receivers, and the next thing he looks for is a lane. Now watch Collins here. In his blitz, he is going to come, and he gives a lane for McMahon. McMahon sees it and runs right up there. Watch Collins, number 50, as he blitzes, you see he goes inside. Now watch, the end goes outside. Now right there, see that big lane? That's all McMahon needs. He sees that lane, and boom, right there, right to the outside and in the end zone. The Rams were conscious of this. They said, we're going to have a guy spying or dogging McMahon all day. At one of the first early plays, they didn't have anyone there. That's McMahon. You don't shake hands as easy. You know, anyone can shake hands. You have to go up there and put some scars on that helmet.
Some
go
dents.
paint to paint, paint to paint. He still has that headband on, I see this week.
But it has a different name on it.
You know, last week they told him he couldn't do it, so he did it. And then, of course, the Bears have been fined for it. And this week he put it on, but he changed the name on it.
I didn't know he had a sporting goods company, did you?
No, but I think that's the answer. I think they got a letter from Commissioner Pete Rozelle, and I think that's McMahon's letter back to him.
Butler's kick will be handled maybe by Redden, and now he lets it bounce out of bounds, and they'll have to do it again. A 16-yard touchdown run by quarterback Jim McMahon as the Bears of Mike Ditka on top 7-0. The scoring drive then, 5 plays, 56 yards. They kept it 3 minutes, 11 seconds. They threw it the first 2 times, and then McMahon scrambled in. 19-2 when they score first. That goes back to last year. They've scored first. Now they'll have to kick off again.
You know, it's an interesting thing as we watch Kevin Butler there getting ready to kick off. When he was in college, of course, they used the tee. So after he was drafted, he stopped using the tee, started kicking off the turf, and became very proficient at it in a field goal. and then he had trouble getting back and using the tee again for the kickoff.
He's changed the height of that tee several times, and now Brown and Redden swap spots. Butler saw it. It's going to go back to Brown if he can handle it, and he handles it 2 yards deep in the end zone. Redden says stay there, and he does. You realize he kicked that ball from the 30? 75 yards he kicked it.
Well, that's a pumped up kicker. You know, Butler and McMahon are best friends, and I think after McMahon goes out and scores like that, then Butler says, heck, if he's going to do something, I better do something. Then he kicks it out of bounds, and he goes, wow, now I really have to do something. So
if we're going to remain friends.
Yeah, he put the old backside to that.
As they say, he got all of it. First down, Rams, their own 20. Dickerson moves into the back of the eye. Dieter Brock throws outside, intended for Duckworth behind him. The Bear defense has become very well known, but just in case you don't know them, Hampton, McMichael, Perry, and Dent start up front. The linebackers, and this also is a very good group, Wilson, Singletary in the middle, and Wilbur Marshall. And the secondary, Richardson and Frazier, the corners, and Durson and Finsick, the two safety men. Dickerson stands alone behind Dieter Brock. David Hill in motion. Back to Dickerson. Against the grain, and Dickerson gets back to the line of scrimmage and lunges for a yard perhaps. Mike Singletary on the stop.
One of the interesting things the Rams and Dickerson were saying that we probably won't be successful early running, and they're becoming very prophetic because they're not successful early running, but they think if they just keep going at him, keep popping away, that they'll wear down this defense. I don't know about that.
I don't either. Dickerson, as you saw, was very successful last week. Third down. Durson showing blitz. They pick it up. Brock throws for Henry Ellard and throws it low. And again, we'll see Dale Hatcher to punt. Dieter Brock trotting off. Hatcher is number 3. His first effort of the day went 34 yards, and Keith Ortego returned it for 1 yard.
Dale Hatcher, the punter here, was a teammate of William Perry at Clemson.
That one, it will be handled by Durson right at midfield, and again the Bears will have a good shot at it. Again, it's very difficult to tell which way the wind is blowing. That would look like it hung up there a long time. Looking down at Soldier Field, of course it's sold out. But what you can't believe, I'm sure, is the temperature right by the shore of Lake Michigan is 38 degrees. It's supposed to go down as the afternoon goes by. But right now, other than the wind, it's almost unbelievable. 7-0 Bears. They have the ball first and 10 at the Ram 49. Jim McMahon.
I think in today's football, in any football, I think if I could pick a guy to quarterback my team, I kind of like this guy. He can do the things, handoff, run, ball plays, all that stuff. But he's a tough guy. He has a lot of charisma. He leads this thing. He'll do the different thing.
I think his day is about 28 hours long. First down from the 49. And back he goes again. Screen pass set up very well to Payton as he steps out. Payton to the 30. Gary Green finally stopped him, but Payton did that little jig step that's become so familiar and broke out of the pack.
And I'll tell you who made the block. Jay Hilgenberg, the center, gets out there. Watch 63. He's going to block. Now run right down the line. And he's going to see someone reads it. I got to pick him off. Now watch 63. Boom! Picks him off right there. Now that frees Payton. Now Payton can put that ball out there and do that step and do all that stuff. But Hilgenberg got out there and he goes whap, and he just scrapes Mel Owens right off him.
Hilgenberg has had one terrific year. Hit it for the Pro Bowl, and deservedly so. To Whiteman from McMahon, the backup tight end, gets about 8. And tempers start to flare just a bit. Jim Collins was the first man to hit him.
That's what they say. You see that those linemen, Hilgenberg goes back there and they all shake hands. Boy, that's good. You were out there blocking and fighting and stuff, they say. Hilgenberg was saying the other day, so you know the great thing about being a football player is you don't have to take a shower to go to work. Watch Hilgenberg here. I mean, he's in Dijonais. I mean, he hits him, gets the helmet in there, get that hand up there, boom, the right hand, then the left hand, then both hands, then another one, then the right again, then the push. Plays over, get a little help, go get some more. Don't take a shower, don't comb your hair. You don't have to do that stuff to go to work when you play football.
Free agent from Iowa. Long history of football players and good ones in that family. Here's Peyton. Peyton very close to a first down. In fact, I think he got it after a gain of 3. Owens and Eckern on the stop, 2 of the Ram linebackers. 6:33 left to play in the first quarter, and the Bears have thoroughly dominated.
I tell you, they felt, I mean, everyone feels the day before, but they felt that it's very important to get ahead early on this team. Because if the Rams get ahead, then they can give you that big dose of Dickerson all day. But if you get ahead of them, then it doesn't mean as much.
Galt is wide to the left. Suey sets up as the flanker behind Reitman to the right. McMahon goes quickly to Galt. And Galt in the grasp of Leroy Irvin. Still got 6.
That was an audible there. They saw Leroy Irvin off, and they audibleized to Galt. Now, it's a quick pass. Now, watch 74, Jimbo Covert here. He has to cut Reggie Doss, the end man. See, cut him down so that gives McMahon the lane to throw that short, quick pass out to Galt. So you got to get that end man down. Then he can't get his hands up to knock the ball down. Get his hands down, get him down. That's the way to do it.
Covert cut him right out of our picture. Second down, back to Peyton. Peyton behind the line of scrimmage by Mel Owens. A loss of a couple.
Man's probably thinking I should have audibleized to another pass. You know, the offensive coaches call the plays for Jim McMahon, but he can audibleize. And usually his audibles are out of the run that they call into the pass that he wants to throw.
As much as a third of the time, he said yesterday, against some defenses. However, the Rams sort of stay in the same defense, so audibleizing is not all that necessary.
In this situation, Mike Ditka likes to run. McMahon likes to pass.
Third down and 7. McMahon, incomplete. Intended for Galt as he cut across. Now it looks like the wind has changed, so it's going left to right, which would mean it's behind the Bears.
I'll tell you, if you're a player or a coach or a kicker or anything, and you start worrying about the wind and try and figure out, they take you right from the field to some metal joint.
Kevin Butler from 33 yards away with Steve Fuller holding. Butler missed 3 times last week as they shut out the Giants. But he had a great year. Back on track. And the Bear lead increases to 10-0 with 4:26 left to play in the first quarter. 10-0 Bears, 4:26 left first quarter. Butler will kick off to either Brown or Redden. Last time he kicked off, at the last second, they swapped sides. Obviously, Butler would like to kick it away from Brown, not intending to insult Redden. See if they switch again.
That's what they're trying to do. The Bears are trying to do what they call spot kick. Kick to a spot, then have all their cover guys run down to that spot.
This is not a very good kick, and it's going to be handled by Brown at the 19. Don't forget he's got that great speed. But he only returns it about 5 yards, 6 yards before Morrissey and Thrift bring him down.
You know, of all the things that the Bears have done well this year, the one thing that they didn't do well was their kickoff coverage. And that's one thing they've been worried about. all year. And of course, when you're playing the #1 guy in Ron Brown, they've been worrying about it mostly this week. They had a pretty good start.
1st and 10 for the Rams. They're at their own 25. There is no safety man. Over Brown's head. They had a bundle if they complete that one.
They didn't have any safety in the middle. In fact, they didn't have either safety on the field, Fensick nor Duerson. And they had a 5 defensive linemen. Watch all these guys up here. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defensive linemen. Then they had 2, 4 linebackers. So they were 5, 4, and only 2 defensive backs and no safety. That's putting a load in the middle.
That's one we haven't seen before. Now they go back into that shift. Fensick comes up. Dickerson comes out of there. Dickerson tripped up by Singletary after a gain of 6.
I think the Rams have that shift figured out now. They're shifting Fensick up, and every time we've seen them do that this year, they've run right at Fensick. That time they did again, but they had a blocker on Fensick. They had a little success there.
Brings up a 3rd and 4 situation. Brown wide left, Ellard wide right. Dickerson standing right up behind Brock so he can hear what's going on, and now he backs away. Here's Eric Dickerson. He did not get the first down. Looked like there could have been. It must have been a fumble.
Well,
David Hill ended up with it.
Yeah, the ball came out of there, and David Hill recovered the fumble for a first down. They had Eric Dickerson stop. Dickerson looked like he left his blockers too soon. Watch the guard and the tackle pull here. Dickerson just goes straight ahead. He leaves both blockers. Now right here he gets hit. The ball comes out, but it comes this way. David Hill catches it and runs it, advances it for a first down.
Their first down.
That's one way to get it.
Brock back to throw. Gets it outside to Tony Hunter. And Hunter hammers up to about the 45 before Leslie Frazier gets him out of bounds. A gain of 7.
Wilbur Marshall missed a tackle on that. That's one thing about this Bear defense. They're all good tacklers. And you very seldom see a guy miss a tackle. First, I think Tony Hunter caused a little of that. You know, maybe gave him a little move there. Marshall was right there and had him, and then missed him.
2nd down and 3. Dickerson and Redden. 2-back setup now for the Rams. It's Dickerson. He is hit by William Perry right at the line of scrimmage and lunges up close to another first down for the Rams.
Yeah, they are having trouble, Pat, with that shift we're talking about, where they take Duerson, put him back, and they bring Fensick up. Fensick made that tackle again. Let's see if we can see what they're doing. Here's where they start. Here's Fensick. Here's Duerson. Now, before the shift, then he comes up here and ends up here. Fensick does. Duerson goes back here, and they run right into him. Watch it. See, they show this. Now, here goes Duerson back. Here comes Fensick up, 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 up. He ends up right there. You see, he's the guy that made the tackle.
3rd and about a foot. Duman is now in front of Dickerson. This is Hunter in motion. We'll give to Dickerson. I don't know. Singletary again.
I don't think he got a first down there, Pat. I don't even think that's one you'd measure. I think that's one, if your defense, you celebrate.
Might have lost a yard after they finally mark it.
Singletary took as many hits after the play as he did the hit, but watch you hit on the play. He reads it. He takes Dickerson right in the hole. The first thing as a tackler you want to do is stop his momentum and straighten him up. Then after you get him straightened up, the next thing is you get him going backwards.
Those two have met before in college and the other times they've played since they've been professionals. Dickerson from SMU, Singletary from Baylor. Hatcher's kick sails away from Portico. He lets it bounce out of bounds. And the Bears will take over at their own 19. 1 minute, 17 seconds left to play in the first quarter. 10-0 Bears over the Rams. Penalty marker down, and the conference goes on with Jim Tunney, the referee.
It's against the Rams.
Number 51 downfield illegally. Penalty is declined. First down.
Bears lead it 10-0 as we approach the end of the first quarter, and they've been totally in control. The crowd is intense, and the hitting on the field is intense. Eric Dickerson and Mike Singletary just had a violent collision just a minute ago, and Singletary won that battle. They said they were going to put a lot of hats on him, and they did. The big hat of Mike Singletary was the first one there.
You wonder what excites a middle linebacker? I think we just saw it.
First down Bears from their own 19. They get to Peyton. Peyton struggles for about 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. Jim Collins is the Ram who made the tackle.
Well, does that poor nose tackle take a lot of different blocks in that thing? Old Emery Moorhead came in and got him to center. Hilgenberg's working on DeJournay in there. And then the tight end comes in and traps him. And I always have about 2 or 3 guys kind of hanging on that nose tackle's jersey. That's why the Rams use 3. You know, they use 3 guys just to handle that one position.
Second down, about 5. Buchanan in motion. It's Peyton again. Jumped away from Nolan Cromwell and from Gary Green, and jumped very close to a first down. Van Horn, the offensive right tackle, was the man who was slow getting up, number 78.
Yeah, talking to the Ram players, Ram defensive players, they said the thing that Peyton gives you that really worries you is that when he comes out there, he can throw that ball. So you have to have one guy come up to force it, you know, to force the end. But the other guy has to be the support man. He has to stay back. Because Walter, if they both come up to help tackle on that end run, he just stops and throws it. He said that threat really takes away your aggressiveness on defense.
3rd and 1 from the 28. Pitch back to Peyton. Gets outside the 30, and that'll be a first down. Johnny Johnson made the stop, but they'll move the sticks.
And they move the sticks because of the move that Walter Payton made on Jim Collins. Collins was free, he was square, he had him. Walter gave him a little move, boom, 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 and he misses him. Watch him as Payton comes out here. Watch Collins, he has him there, he gives him the dip, he gives him the limp arm, and then he goes and gets the first down. Collins makes the tackle, it's no first down.
And that's the end of the first quarter at Soldier Field, with the host Chicago Bears leading 10-0. Downtown Chicago and the Windy City today is living up to its nickname. Sears Tower, of course, this country's tallest building. First down Bears at their own 31. Suey was the man in motion. McMahon going for the bundle. Got Willie Galt, who almost came up with a catch, but it's incomplete. And Willie Galt had a step. Johnny Johnson was the nearest Ram, but Galt blew right by everybody.
Well, that was the zone. The Rams are always in a zone, but this is where the safety has to come deep. You see, Johnson had the deep area. Galt got by him, but that ball did tricks in the wind. I mean, it was outside of Galt one time, then it was over his head, then it was inside. Willie was trying to adjust, then it was short, and he fell down. He made about 4 adjustments, one of them falling on his back on that play.
That was the final adjustment. 104 to 21 in total yards. Bears lead in that category and on the scoreboard. McMahon outside Suey. That Suey gets about 7. Carl Eckern wrapped him up.
I think one of the things that long pass to Willie Galt did is it tells that Ram defense, we're going to go deep. We know you're playing zone, but you better keep your zone deep. You better get that guy back there.
That's Mel Owens, the Ram linebacker, the outside linebacker, who's down. 5-year pro from Michigan. The Rams have 8 linebackers. Yeah, they're a strong group. That's their strong suit. Let's go back and see if we can figure out what happened to Owens.
Well, he made the tackle on display. I think he ran into Suey right here and his own guy, Carl Eckern. See Eckern on top? Eckern was tackling, and as he was tackling Suey, he was spinning around, and that went right into Mel Owens.
And Collins was on top of all of them. Still 10-0. Third down and 4. 3rd and 3, call it. McMahon under pressure. Throws high, intended for Payton. They put the pressure on the quarterback. Jim Collins was the leader, along with Dejournay.
Well, they had good pressure. The other thing they had was excellent coverage. That's what McMahon is still looking for, someone that was open. They had their nickel package in, their extra defensive back, the Rams did, but they had all the Bear receivers covered.
Maury Buford back to punt for the Bears. Henry Ellard and Johnny Johnson back deep for the Rams. Ellard is dangerous.
That's the guy Mike Ditka said he's the guy that we're most worried about on his whole Ram team is Henry Ellard.
Buford end over end kick that'll bounce to Ellard. He is bounced by Hilgenberg, the man who did the snapping. He's down there in a hurry. Next Sunday, the season's premiere of CBS Sports Sunday, featuring the 1985 All-Madden football team in the World Triathlon Championships. And I would think that Mr. Hilgenberg might certainly be a candidate for the All-Madden team. I'm not asking you.
Well, no, he is. I mean, the guy that does that, he, plays center, snaps on punts, run down. His whole family, they all had center. Those guys never played catch in their life facing each other. They used to be in the backyard, and all they'd see is the backsides going all the time, and, shirt hanging out, stuff like that. There was a guy who was on it last year, Bill Bain.
Bobby Duckworth was split wide to the left. Here's Dickerson, chased by Wilbur Marshall and taken down by William Perry. A loss of about 4.
I'll tell you, Marshall got there, and right after Marshall, there was William Perry. Let's watch Marshall. He's coming from right here, but also watch the big refrigerator. He's going to come there, too. I was going to say, you see the fridge, he starts inside. There goes Marshall, starts in, works out. He gets him to, 72? He's finished him up. When they see him coming, they're looking for some plastic.
He can move. Brock's pass over the head of Duckworth. He and Michael Young are now the wide receivers for the Rams. Dieter Brock was saying he's 1 out of 5. And when he played up in Canada, which he did for 11 years, particularly in the years at Winnipeg, he said the wind blew hard every day.
Hey, so last year he played in the Grey Cup and it was 10 degrees. I don't think the weather's bothering him as much as this NFL defense or this Chicago Bear defense.
The Bruce brothers. It's outside of Tony Leonard. He's knocked out of bounds by Fencing. And again, the Rams will have to punt. Otis Wilson. This city is Bear mad, particularly about the defense.
Hey, we both stayed here all week. I have never seen a city support a football team or be so excited about a football team as I have being in Chicago this week.
Boy, isn't that the truth? Everywhere you look, everything you hear. Hatcher gets off a good kick this time to Ortego. Back at the 20. He had a tough time circling in on that one. Ortego taken down by Norwood Van. 37-yard punt. They net 29 out of it, and the Bears take over at their own 29.
Let's watch what the wind is doing here. Here's the snap to the punter, Dale Hatcher. Watch how it just starts going out, 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 out. He catches it outside. Then when he punts the ball, he punts it right here in the right hash mark, and it ended up outside the left hash mark.
Ortego did well not to fumble it.
Hatcher did well catching it.
He did. Inside handoff to Calvin Thomas, and it didn't fool anybody. Reggie Doss. Jim Collins on the tackle.
That's a type of play that really isn't going to fool this Ram defense, because they're a stay-at-home, read type of thing. Everyone just play their area. They started Walter Payton one way, then they came back underneath. But the Ram defense is a very disciplined group. Of course, then you say, well, then how come they gave McMahon the lane to run in for the touchdown? I don't know. That time they weren't.
Their whole philosophy is very simple. Second down and about 11. McMahon back to throw. He's under pressure, and here he comes again. McMahon slides about a yard shy of the first down under Carl Eckern. Picked up 9.
McMahon says he doesn't understand that rule. He says, what's the rule? He's telling the referee, Jim Tunn, he said, they told me that if I slide feet first, they don't hit you, you're down. If I slide head first, they can hit me. So I changed from sliding head to feet, and they still hit me. What's the deal, ref? Watch him here. It's the same thing. Now, number 69 is Meisner. He's the nose tackle. I think he was supposed to be spying on McMahon. You see him coming here? He's just not fast enough. McMahon gets by here. Now he gets the play. Now he sees he goes feet first, and he still gets hit.
That sets up 3rd and 1. Thomas in motion. The handoff to Payton, and he got the first down. Reggie Doss on the bottom of the pile, but Payton got just enough. Checking out the total offense, 121 yards for the Bears, 26 for the Rams, with 11:27 left in the first half.
There's the Fridge. I saw him out here earlier, and he was just in a T-shirt. You know, he's getting that weight down. And I've always noticed when a guy gets his weight down, he starts wearing a lot of T-shirts. You know, when you have your weight up there, you wear a lot of coats and stuff over you.
You thought his weight was going down?
I think his weight's going down. Yeah, I do. I think that 7 and a 2 is getting closer to the middle of his body now.
Looked like a full package to me when we were down on the field before.
He said one thing. He said, I'll tell you, the wind doesn't bother me. He said, I feel sorry for those receivers. Fridge can anchor himself in there, but he stays where he puts those feet.
Takes a pretty stout breeze to move him around. Here's McMahon. McKinnon at the Ram 44. Gary Green stopped it.
I don't know if that's with or against the wind, because the wind is swirling down there, but that was a heck of a throw by Jim McMahon. Watch Dennis McKinnon. He's going to come up, then he's going to run an in here towards us right now, but that ball was zipped right in there. He hit him right between the 8 and the 5.
We were talking about the weather forecast yesterday with Dennis McKinnon. He said 40 degrees. Man, that's going to be a breeze. 7 out of 10. McMahon is down by Reggie Doss. First sack, and McMahon scrambles to his feet angrily.
He wants to get in a fight. You can't do that. The quarterback, you can't fight. He got sacked. He was trying to throw a quick pass, a quick hitch out here, and Galt was covered. And then after he couldn't, had he thrown it, he would have been intercepted. He just had to hold it and take the sack.
It's true, you know, you don't hear about many quarterbacks being in fights.
No, usually they're off, saying, telling everyone, calm down, calm down. See, I think it's that extra hit there at the knee when Doug Reed came over the top. Then McMahon said, when you're a quarterback, the way you fight a guy is you throw the ball at him.
And then you back up.
Yeah, he zings it in at Reed.
McMahon gives to Payton. Payton trying to get around the corner, does a little bit. Taken out of bounds by Collins. No flag.
Well, you know, the fans are booing on that, Pat, but that's a tough one for Johnny Johnson. He's coming up. Now, when you get on that sideline, you have to unload on Peyton because you know he's going to unload on you. And that's what Johnson's saying. I just can't stand there and let him unload on me. Now watch Walter as he comes up there just before he goes out of bounds. Watch him now. He switches the ball. Now he's going to unload with that right arm. So Johnson has to get his load ready to go load to load. And the fans boo when you do that.
Tough to stop it.
Well, you got to. If a guy's loading up on you, you got to load up on him or you go backwards.
And you better bring a bigger load.
Then you change occupations.
Gentry in the backfield as McMahon goes out of the shotgun now. And Gentry goes in motion. McMahon whips it out to Peyton. Incomplete. He had some room. And there was nobody around. Peyton doesn't drop that many.
Well, that's the thing with that zone defense. The Rams are always in a zone. When you go short like that, there won't be a man on you. Walter knew that. There was no one there. There was no one within 10 yards of Walter Payton on that one. He was thinking of the moves he was going to be making.
So Maury Buford comes on, and Johnson and Ellard go back deep for the Rams. Buford's first effort was of 37 yards. Leroy Irvin. I said Ellard. It's Leroy Irvin back deep. Johnson signals fair catch, makes it at about the 16. The word on Ellard, by the way, is he is in the locker room having his ribs taped at the moment. 30-yard punt. 9:35 left to play in the first half at Soldier Field. The Bears lead 10-0. This was last week's most embarrassing moment. Sean Landetta, the punter for the Giants. Look at his hand underneath the ball.
You know, and all punters watch and evaluate each other. Talk to both punters of the Bears and the Rams, and they say that wouldn't happen to them because they hold the ball on top of the ball. Their hand, instead of being under the ball when the drop, is on top of the ball with the drop.
And in a wind, that would certainly make a difference. Brock throws out to Brown at about the 20. A gain of 3, and that's all. The average yards on first down, and boy, doesn't that make a difference.
Well, it makes a big difference, especially the team that only has 1 yard. The Rams, that's their thing. You know, they don't play long yardage. I mean, Dieter Brock isn't the kind that's going to convert 3rd and long for you a lot.
2nd down and 7. Tony Hunter was the man in motion. Brock backs out. Got the ball, I believe, to Brown again, and that should be enough for a first down. A gain of 11 this time. Leslie Frazier was the defender.
I'll tell you one thing that, you know, in this first half of the game, the Rams offensive line is doing a better job at pass protection than the Giants did a week ago. I mean, Dieter Brock is getting rid of the ball quicker. He's taking a shorter drop, 3 or 5 step, quick release, and he's getting relatively good pass protection.
1st and 10. They have no sacks as yet. They had 6 last week. The Bears. Ball at the 31. Dickerson cutting back, trying to find someplace to go, and there's not much room there. Singletary and Marshall wrap Dickerson, and here comes another little scuffle. Pankey and David Hill of the Rams involved with Durson and Dent. Gain of 3.
See, Perry's in there, the refrigerator. He's shaking his head and saying, "Not me." So he said, "I didn't do it. The other guy started it." I said, "Come on, Biscuit." They don't call him Fridge. You know, he got that nickname Biscuit when he first came in. Dan Hampton, 99, next to him, watched him get on a scale and said, "That guy's a biscuit away from 350. That's what they call a Biscuit.
Buddy Ryan calls him the Big Rook.
Big Rook. Big Rook, Biscuit, Fridge, Refrigerator.
Got a lot of names. Brown has the ball. And the penalty marker goes down. I think Brown might have run out of bounds. I'm not sure. It's Michael Young, not Brown.
If you look at the official on the sideline right here, Burl Toller has his hat off. That means he threw the hat when Brown went out of bounds.
It's Young, not Brown. We're both wrong. but I think he did go out of bounds.
Well, he did go out of bounds because Burl Toller is back here on the 35-yard line with his hat off.
The receiver went out of bounds, making him ineligible. Loss of down only, 7 down.
But the rule is the receiver can go out of bounds and come back in and catch a tip pass. He can come back in and block, but he can't go out of bounds and come back in and be the receiver. Watch, he got bumped. You know, the thing is, he did go out of bounds, but that was an illegal bump. Mike Richardson can't bump him after 5 yards before the ball's in the air. You can bump that first 5. Now, that official, he did a good job of catching Young going out of bounds, but he did a bad job of catching the bump that knocked him out of bounds that was illegal.
Michael Young this time is where he was last time, split wide to the right. Brock looking in that direction. Batted away by Tyrone Keys. That was part of their package. That was part of the scheme. He's 6'8", and he batted it down.
Buddy Ryan has a new wrinkle, and that is to put Tyrone Keys in on passing down. They have their 46. Buddy Ryan calls Keys too tall. So he said, we're going to put too tall in there because Dieter Brock is going to have a tough time throwing overs, and we want yet another tall guy in there.
Brock is only 6 feet. Hatcher to punt. That's a good one. More to go. Sandwiched at the 25. Mark Giroux.
I think there may be 2 penalties down there. The official threw a flag and a hat.
There's a yellow flag down. He's got his hat back. There's the flag.
Well, that's the first thing you see is you throw a flag, and then if you see another one, you throw a hat. Then your third thing is a beanbag they throw. They're just calling 1 penalty, though. Blocking from behind above the waist or something. That'll be 10 yards against the Bears.
Has a 44-yard punt.
Illegal block on the return. Number 29, Chicago, 10 yards, first down.
Call against Dennis Gentry. 7:14 left to play in the first half, and the Bears continue to lead by that same margin, 10-0. Let's go back and look at that pass to Young a minute ago where he was called for being out of bounds. Look what gets him out of bounds.
Of course, Richardson hits him there in the first 5 yards. Now watch that. He knocked him out of bounds with his shoulder and his right arm, and then Young came back in and caught the ball. They said that was illegal. Now Art McNally of the league office says that was incidental contact that knocked him out of bounds. I don't know if Robinson saw that one, but when he sees that one, he's going to say that incidental contact is what makes guys change professions.
Changes the color of your hair.
Yeah, that was a bad one. They can call it anything they want, but that was a bad call.
First down Bears. McMahon gets it outside of Peyton. Peyton gets it outside and out of bounds. Knocked out by Mike Wilcher. Gain of only 3 as Tom Thayer was out in front of Peyton with a good block.
Yeah, they did that play before, remember, and it was Jay Hilgenberg got out there with a good block, and as you say, that time the right guard, Tom Thayer, got out there and made that block.
Bears have it 2nd and 7 from their own 19. 6:40 left to play in the first half. McMahon retreats, flag is down, and McMahon comes out of the pack. Stopped by Collins. But a penalty marker down.
But there we see again the thing that Jim McMahon does. He's going to go against the Bears anyway, but he'll look for a receiver. If the receiver's not there, he looks for the lane to run in. And if that's not there, and if there's a penalty, then he smiles about it, and he knows there's more to come. He says, boy, this is a little easier today than I thought.
5 yards, still second down.
Still second down. McMahon looking over to the sideline. It'll be 2nd and 12. information has just come to us that the winds have diminished and are down to about 10 miles an hour now. 2nd and 12. Moorhead on the move. And somebody else moved.
Now that'll be against the Rams, and Jim McMahon got that penalty. What he does is after he takes a penalty, Bob Greasy used to be the master at this. He uses a cadence to draw him off sides. Then the cadence.
False start, number 78.
It got his own guy. But McMahon was trying to get him. As he said, I always get him when I go, hut, 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 and then hut, and it's on 4. Now watch him, he's going, hut, hut, hut. See, but the guy got his guy, Keith Van Horn, number 78, instead of the Ram defense. McMahon was trying to get them, and it got his own guy.
I think you just got half of our audience, too.
Oh, that's how he does it. Yeah, you go hut, hut. Then on that third one, you really bellow it, and everyone jumps, including your guy.
2nd and 17. McMahon draw play. Calvin Thomas to about the 9. Gary Jeter on the tackle. A gain of only 1.
Gary Jeter had a big game last week against the Dallas Cowboys. He had 3 sacks and played his best game as a Ram. He's not the starting right end. He's the kind of the designated pass rusher, and he's kind of rejuvenated his career this year.
He really has.
He was traded from the Giants, and then he had some injuries and surgery and thought his game was finished, and came back this year in a big way. That adds a little hunger.
That's McKinnon on the move. And they chase McMahon back into the end zone. He tried to throw a middle screen to Dennis Gentry, but there was nothing there. And almost McMahon was not there.
And almost the ball was coming towards McMahon. That's a dangerous area to try and throw away a pass. You know, right there in the middle. I think they knocked the screen man down. They had it covered well. They could have intercepted that one and taken it in the end zone.
Leroy Irvin and Johnny Johnson back deep for the Rams, standing at about their 44, the Bear 44. Maury Buford coming out of his own end zone with this punt. Buford's punt bounces away from Johnson. It really takes a Bear bounce. Some confusion between Irvin and Johnson as to who would handle it, and it winds up all the way back at the Ram 35, a 55-yard punt.
Of course, we have to remember that the top punt returner in the league, Henry Ellard, isn't in there. We have a backup in there, Johnny Johnson. It looked like they just didn't have their communication down, because there's no way they should have let that ball hit the ground.
Look at John Robinson's reaction.
You know, I mean, you lose 20 yards of field position on that bounce. That'll gray a few gray hairs on a coach.
Henry Ellard is back now, got his ribs taped. Dieter Brock looking in his direction. Incomplete. Knocked away by Singletary. Flag is down, penalty marker down. If the wind is decreased, it's pretty hard to tell it.
I think it may have decreased and then picked up again.
No foul on the play. The ball was touched. Ball was touched. Incomplete pass. 2nd down.
Singletary tipped it, so there's no foul on the play.
What they're saying is here comes number 50, Mike Singletary. Now, because he tips the ball, then there can't be pass interference on the corner. See, the corner interfered, and had that ball not been tipped, it would have been pass interference.
Drop. Pass Duckworth, incomplete and out of bounds. Frazier was close, sorry.
That looked like a duck to Passworth.
See the goalposts and the ribbons up top, but the posts themselves wiggling in the wind.
Did you ever kick when the posts were moving?
Well, the posts were wooden in those days.
And they weren't as high either.
They weren't as high, that's right.
Now they're long, old, tall pipes.
Third down. Hunter on the move. And the give is to Dickerson. Dickerson around the corner. Dickerson first down Rams. Fensick finally stopped him. That's his longest run of the day.
I think that's the thing that's going to be some encouragement to the Rams in this first half, is the fact that they can get out here. Now watch Wilson. He'll move out of the way with a motion. Then they bring the guard and the tackle out here to lead on this play. See, they get the motion. There goes Wilson. Now they got a weak or a soft corner over here. Wilbur Marshall is over here all by himself. David Hill takes him in. Now Kent Hill can get in front of Dickerson, and they can get enough to darn near get a first down.
I thought he had a first down, but after they marked it, Dickerson thought he had a first down. He was really upset after they marked it back where they did. High hanging kick by Hatcher, and it takes a Ram bounce. Rams follow it down the sideline and down it inside the 10.
Of course, you can say it's a mistake for the punt returners. You know, you have to catch that ball, but I think that's one of the things in this weather with this wind. That's a very difficult act.
Rams down at about the bare 8-yard line. So it's 1st and 10 from there as McKinnon comes wide left. Galt is wide right. And there is nothing there. Peyton might have struggled for a yard, but not much more. Reggie Doss was the first Ram there.
It's Mike Singletary, nicknamed Samurai. He's in there smiling about, well, we're doing some hitting out there today, aren't we, guys? But I tell you, this Ram defense is doing some hitting out there. I think that they'll be encouraged going into the halftime because they've started to settle down. You know, the Bears can't get much going on them now, and they broke Dickerson a little on that last run. They had that long pass to Young, and it was called back, and they're starting to get some things going in their subtle way.
2nd and 8. McMahon up to throw it. Throws it to Peyton. Peyton gets enough for a first down, a gain of 10 with that last little extra surge.
When you leave Walter Payton alone like that in his zone defense and he drops one, you know he's not going to drop the second one. You know, that second one he's going to get, and he's going to get a first down. That's here. Now watch the zone. You see there's a little play pass. The linebackers drop back. Payton catches a ball in front of him. That's the underneath area. Then he makes a move on Nolan Cromwell, cuts back, and gets the first down.
They get it out to the 20. And the clock is running with 2:02 left now, and they probably would not get another one off, and they don't before the 2-minute warning. Both teams, by the way, have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. The Bears lead it 10-0. Looking down at Soldier Field. Earlier today, one of the people flying a helicopter up there where that camera is located was saying that the wind at that altitude was gusting up to 60 miles an hour. Amazing how steady they can stay under those conditions. 10-0.
You have to be real steady to get in one of those things and go up there when it's 60 miles an hour.
I don't think I'm going to catch you in one, am I?
Never leave the ground.
It's 1st and 10. Incomplete, intended for Matsui. Jim Collins on the coverage. Mike Wiltshire put a little pressure before he was picked up by Peyton.
Hey, one thing, you know, that's the thing that people don't always realize about Walter Payton is that they ask him to do these type of things. You know, he's not only a runner, but I mean, he'll block for you, he'll do everything, and if he doesn't get it done the proper way, he'll hold, he'll grab whatever it takes. When you've been in the league 11 years, you get your body turned a little, you grab, you pull down, do those things.
McMahon is down by Doug Reed, and the second time he's been sacked.
Hey, and Doug Reed came in. He looked like he was relatively free.
Rams have called a timeout. Doug Reed looking on. Just got the second sack of the day for the Rams.
I remember a year ago, Doug Reed's a second-year guy, but a year ago when he came in from San Diego State, he was the big surprise in their training camp and so on. And he was also the guy that had to replace the legendary Jack Youngblood. Now we see Doug Reed here. We get this linebacker's blitzing, and Reed is coming here. And Van Horn, the right tackle, isn't sure who he should take. He tries to go out. He finally goes with the linebacker. The tight end was supposed to block Doug Reed on that play. And he came down to cut him, and he missed him. Doug Reed got there.
The Rams have taken the timeout, leaving them with 2. John Robinson, old friend of yours, close friend of yours, and what a nice man.
Well, forever. You know, John Robinson and I grew up together. We were in grammar school and all that, and I know what he's telling those guys. He was telling them because I know the way he thinks. He's telling, we got him now. He's telling, we got things going. We got him backed up. We got our running starting to go. We got a little passing on him. We're going to beat him in the second half, guys. We're wearing him down. I know that's what he's saying.
Patch Payton in motion. And the handoff is to Suey. Collins was looking at him. A gain of 9, but that just about gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Carl Eckern on the stop. Rams take another timeout. And so now they have 1 remaining. The Bears have been built basically I should say, on very sharp draft choices and a lot of free agents. And a lot of it was done in 1983.
Well, you know, of course, Muggs Hallis, that's George Hallis Jr., was the president at that time. And, you know, with all these things, and the McCaskies here now, and, of course, his father, Papa George Hallis. But Muggs Hallis, you know, had a lot to do with this team. And also, Jim Finks was the vice president and general manager at that time. And neither one of those fellas are here now, but they sure did have a lot to do with the makeup of this team.
This was the draft in 1983. Look at the starters they got out of that single draft. Covert, Galt, Mike Richardson, Durison, Thayer, Richard Dent, and Mark Bortz. Now, that's a good year's work. That's a good 5 years' work.
Well, it sure is, because, you know, of those players, they're not only starters, but 3 of them this year are in the Pro Bowl.
Right. So Maury Buford back to punt. And Johnson and Leroy Irvin stand at midfield. Buford's going to get it between them again, it looks like. No, Johnson makes the adjustment. Johnny Johnson back to the outside. Fumble. Jerry Gray fell on it. And the Rams have had a couple of near disasters on the last 2 punt returns.
I'll tell you, and again, I think we have to say that the #1 punt return in the league, Henry Ellard, isn't in there. This time Johnson here, he fields it. That's the good news. He starts to make a move to the outside. The ball gets hit. It's Jay Hilgenberg down there, the center and the snapper. Knocked it out. The Rams were lucky to come up with that one.
First down, Rams at their own 41. They have 1 timeout remaining. Brock high over the head of Henry Ellard.
Yeah, we were out at practice here on Friday, and Ellard went off. And at that time, he had a bad calf. His calf muscle tightened up, and he went off. And now they said they had to tape up his ribs. Now we see him back as a receiver, but he hasn't been there as a punt returner.
And they miss him. Ron Brown split wide to the left, and Ellard is out to the right. Dickerson behind Brock, and they go with 2 tight ends. Hill and Hunter. And the Rams come after Brock. The Bears rather come after Brock and almost got there. He stepped up and got rid of it.
You know, John Robinson said one thing we're not going to do is they're not going to be hanging all over us, especially these two guys, Wilson and Marshall, coming here. They both come. They put the pressure on Brock, but he's able to get away from it. Watch him. They have two linebackers on the tight. Marshall, the inside of the two, is eventually going to put the pressure on him right there and hit him as he throws the ball. But Brock is going to get rid of the ball. That's what John said. He's not going to be holding that thing.
Outside to Hunter. He can't find a handle. And it'll bring up a 4th down. It's incomplete. Finsick was with him. Listen to the applause for the Bear defense. Hatcher back to kick. And it's a Honey. Ortego lets it bounce in front of him. It hits a Bear. It hit a Bear and the Rams recovered it. Rams have the ball. It hit Reggie Phillips and the Rams recovered.
Reggie Phillips was down on the ground and the ball bounced back into him. The ball hit, he was down on the ground.
And Jerry Gray made the recovery for the Rams.
Well, number 48 right there is Reggie Phillips. You see him, he's blocking. He's not trying to touch the ball. He gets knocked down. Look, he's on his back. The ball bounces, hits him right in the knees. Now it's a live ball that can be recovered by the Rams.
Much to the delight. The crowd is extremely loud. Hunter was the man in motion. The handoff is to Dickerson. He's down to about the 17. Finsick up to make the stop. The Rams have 1 timeout left. Clock running with 54 seconds left now. Dickerson got 4.
Yeah. Rams are probably going to try and get a 1st down before they take their next timeout, but they better hurry up.
Using a lot of valuable seconds. Here's Dickerson. Dickerson hammers down to about the 12, a yard short of a 1st down before William Perry and Singletary stop him.
I think they're going to try and get another 1st down and huddle up before they have to take a timeout, but they don't have that much time. He's going to have to throw the ball out of bounds now.
And in a hurry.
I'm surprised they even got in a huddle.
I have 2. Down to 10 seconds. 3rd and 1. Brock back to throw. Got a man in the middle. It's Dickerson. He's inside the 5 to about the 4. And the clock just ran out.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that they had a timeout. I can't believe that they went with a huddle.
Now they're saying they have a 2nd remaining.
Well, there was 1 second. Now you remember, anyone can call timeout now. So it's going to be who called timeout and what official heard it. This is interesting, but I don't know why. I don't know why that they went back to the huddle.
I can't understand what they might have been thinking.
I knew they were trying to save 1 timeout for the field goal. And you know, I think that's a smart thing. But to huddle up, I don't know about that.
And the discussion, here's Buddy Ryan, the Bears defensive coordinator, out arguing, talking to Burl Toller. And the Bears won the argument. I don't understand that whole picture.
Well, they had the timeout. They had 1 timeout left. By saving the timeout, they can throw inside, which they did. But I think Brock had a whole. I think 1, he spent too much time in the huddle. 2, I think he had to wait too long before he could find someone. See, wait. Now he finally finds him. Now they can't take timeout until Dickerson is down. Now from here on, they can take timeout. So when he went down, they could have called timeout. But you can't take timeout before the play's finished.
You saw David Hill trying to call a timeout. Here's Dennis Harrah trying to call a timeout. Brock is signaling timeout. Robinson's calling a timeout. Didn't make it.
But again, they could all call timeout, but on the officials' behalf, they can't give timeout until Dickerson is down and the whistle blows.
So a very confusing situation, and the Rams lost a golden opportunity to get something on the scoreboard. The Bears lead 10-0. Lansford set to kick it off in the direction of Woolley Galt and Dennis Gentry, both of whom are explosive. Funny looking kick in the direction of Gentry. Handles it at the 1. Is down at about the 23 in the arms of Vince Newsom, and a fight breaks out immediately. I don't suppose you could really call it a fight.
Well, it's not over yet. May turn into one.
A lot of pushing and shoving and perhaps even some profanity.
2-4.
Calvin Thomas was the Bear involved, and Sean Miller was the Ram involved.
They're the two guys walking off there.
First down, Bears, their own 24. They lead it 10-0. Rams had 68 yards total offense in the first half. The Bears 152. I didn't hear what Jim Tunney, the official, said just now, but the things have been held up for just a minute. Not sure the 30-second clock is working. And that is the problem. It is not working.
Maybe it froze. Things, you know, the wind gets to it, the cold weather gets to it, things just go boom, and they have what they call power pops.
The chill factor got to it. McMahon coming out throwing as he began the game. Complete to Moorhead as he did to begin the game. Collins on the stop. A gain of 8. The Bears are 22-1 since 1984 when they were leading at the halftime. There was one exception to that.
Yeah, the interesting thing about that, the one was the Rams. The only time out of those 23 games that they've led at halftime and lost to the Rams.
That was last year in Anaheim. Back to Peyton. Peyton fumbles, goes out of bounds. It'll belong to the Bears. He's the last man who had possession. He picked up 8.
Hey, some strange things have happened to Walter Payton. This hasn't been one of his better days. He's had a little luck with him, but that's the second time that he's fumbled. We remember he dropped a pass early. I think Walter Payton, for all his years of experience, he's still a little jittery over all this stuff. He said he was so excited this week that he couldn't even sit down or anything. He was just going to run in place all week.
Only he could do that. McMahon to throw on first down again. Whips it out to Peyton. No drop this time. Collins tripped him up. A gain of 6. Bears took the opening kickoff, and McMahon scrambled in for a touchdown. Then they got a field goal by Butler, and since then, that Ram defense has put a clamp on them.
That's what I think. I think at that point, the Rams kind of took over. I think they were a little unsettled. The Bears had things going early, and the Rams, about that point, after that second score, they kind of took and got the control back.
Suey this time. About 2 short of the first down. Here's Dieter Brock over on the Ram bench, loosening up.
Well, you know, he has that glove on the left hand. He tore a tendon in his ring finger on the left hand last week. Luckily, of course, he doesn't throw with that hand, nor does he take the ball. He puts, when he gets the snap from the center, his right hand is the top hand, and that takes the pressure of it.
Ball was placed by the official, and then it was blown away.
Well, the wind almost gained a first down for the Bears. Almost blew it. It did blow it to a first down.
And they were still in the huddle. They need a yard and a half, and they give it to Suey. He won't get it. Reggie Doss was the first man there. DeJournay comes to join him.
I'll tell you, DeJournay is the guy that called that play. Watch him on Hilgenberg here, number 70. You see, he takes Hilgenberg. He gets penetration right there. Now, he gets Suey at first. He slows him up, and then Reggie Doss is coming in from the outside. But Charles DeJournay, the nose tackle, got penetration. Anytime you run against a three-man line, you got to get the nose tackle. If you stop the run, it's usually the nose tackle somehow involved.
DeJournay is a man who played in the World Football League. Johnny Johnson back deep along with Leroy Irvin.
I remember when DeJournay was at San Jose State. I remember when he was with the San Diego Chargers.
Buford gets off a good kick. Johnson lets it bounce, and it goes out of bounds at about the 23. And again, there's a little pushing and shoving between Vince Evans and Tim Reitman. The punt, Vince Newsom involved. They only get 28 yards out of the kick. It looked good in the beginning. There's this year's genius, Buddy Ryan, the defensive coordinator of the Bears. John, you and I were talking a minute ago. This is our 5th Bear game this year, and we haven't seen anyone score a touchdown against them yet.
Oh, and I think that's the thing. You know, and Buddy Ryan will be the first guy to say, I mean, he has this 46 defense, and it's all this and that, but the guys that make the defense are the guys we're seeing here, the players. I mean, anyone can play 46 and not shut out people the way we've seen. But these guys are good players.
They're tremendous athletes. Brock retreats. Gives it to Dickerson. It's the same play that ended the first half. 6-yard gain. Dickerson, we were talking with him the other day. He said, they don't even throw me the ball. They don't have any patterns.
He said for this game, he doesn't have any pass patterns. He was probably just like a fourth dairy guy. You know, that was faking or supposed to be around there. I think he caught that with one hand, though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Probably that scuba sleeve he has on got it.
Second and 4.
Stuck to the scuba sleeve, I think.
They've kept him under control, however. Dickerson got a good block. It's for Ellard. And it's out of bounds. Dickerson got a good pickup.
I'll tell you, it was against Richard Dent, too. You know, he wasn't blocking a defensive back or a linebacker. Watch 95. There's Richard Dent. He's coming. Then he sees Dickerson. Dickerson, I have to take that guy. Oh, well, I'll tell you, he stayed in there. He squared, bent the knees a little, threw the right elbow at the end.
Hung with him pretty good, didn't he?
He hung in there good. I'll tell you, that had to be a shock to Dickerson. You look, you know, you bend over, square up, knees bent, eyes up, open. Here comes Dent. Whoop!
They need 4 for a first down. Dickerson and Redden in the backfield. Ellard in motion. Brock. Incomplete. And now here comes the flag. Richardson grabbed Ellard before the ball got there.
And that's going to be against the Bears. That'll give the Rams the ball right there. They're at the 48-yard line. Watch him right here. We see Mike Richardson. He's grabbing it. He gets his shoulder. He gets that right and left hand on Henry Ellard before the ball gets there. That was right out in front. Everyone saw that one.
That's a Ram first down at the 48. Excuse me, John.
You know what? Mike Richardson's nickname is L.A. L.A. because he's from Southern California. So L.A.'s playing L.A.
Redden and Dickerson. This is Eric Dickerson. He breaks 1 or 2 tackles. Ball's on the ground. And Richardson, who was just called, gets the fumble recovery. That's the second one for Dickerson.
I think on that play, Otis Wilson, Number 55 stripped Dickerson. Buddy Ryan, the defense coordinator, said we're going to get 3 fumbles. Watch 55 here. Takes on the guard, Ken Hill. Then he works back. Now watch him come back and watch that right hand go in and knock that ball out. He grabbed that right hand, pulled it into the elbow, and that knocked the ball out of Dickerson. In fact, Otis Wilson told us that he was going to get 3 fumbles. He said Dickerson will fumble 3 times tomorrow.
McMahon back to throw. Fires outside to Payton. Payton gets away from one and then steps out of bounds. It was Wilcher. Here's Otis Wilson.
He's still celebrating. He said he could tell the guy, you know, I took on the guy. Kent Hill came, he blocked me. I took on him. Dickerson got in. It was that gap play. Worked back in and grabbed his arm.
Now look at that turnover ratio. Plus 23 in their 12 wins. Minus 8 in their 5 losses. You could do that to just about any team. McMahon back to throw again. And now almost flushed out of the pocket. Had to throw it away. Under heavy pressure again from the Ram rush. Intended for Reitman.
Coverage to Owen.
Hey, one thing about this Ram defense is they're always playing a zone. They always have their underneath guys in the right spots, their deep guys in the right spots. And if you're going to hit them, you have to be right in those lanes and areas. You're not going to have guys running wide open against this Ram defense.
They have their pass rush group in there. The Bears have Marjoram in now as the wide receiver. And McKinnon is out. That's Gentry in motion. McMahon with a blitz coming. Completes it to Galt. And that'll be enough for a Bear first down. McMahon is down. Slow getting up at least.
I tell you, he threw that right between Leroy Irvin and Vince Newsom. You know, McMahon still has bad knees, you know, and every time he goes down, I'm sure that everyone's thinking about that. I mean, he's had shoulder injuries and kidney injuries and everything, but he still has bad knees. But watch this zip. 2 defenders. There's Irvin, there's Newsom, and he hit that ball zoom right between those 2 guys. And look what Collins does to him after he throws the ball. Boy, that jiggled that whole body. I mean, that put that spine in a different area.
It's one you'll remember. He gives it back to Payton. Payton's going to be trapped for a loss and out of bounds. Leroy Irvin. But the Ram defense was right there. A loss of 4.
That's the thing with a defense or a defensive coach. You know, when you have a guy doubled and you have him inside out and the quarterback still gets that ball in there, you wonder, what do you have to do?
Clock is stopped with 9:32 left to play in the 3rd quarter. By the way, the 30-second clock now is operating. It's been fixed. There she goes. Marjoram split wide to the right. Suey said something to Payton that made him move. The pitch is back to Suey, and he does not very much. There wasn't much there. Vince Newsom. And the pushing and shoving continues.
Just about every play we're getting something going here now. There's Dennis McKinnon going in. It looks like, you know, he's had some knee problems all year, and he only practices 1 or 2 days a week and comes out and plays in the game. But I'll tell you, he's the tough guy of this team. He's the guy that catches all the inside passes. He's the guy that does the blocking for the sweeps. He does things that you don't see wide receivers doing much anymore.
And he enjoys doing it. 3rd and 13.
And his coach, Mike Ditka, enjoys talking about it.
Marjoram in motion. Handoff. Up the middle is Suey. Gentry, I beg your pardon. Suey was out. There was Gentry who picked up the 8 yards. This might be close enough for Butler.
What they're trying to do is make them think pass and then pop that trap in there to Gentry. This is a big decision now for Mike Ditka. It's 4th down. Do you go for the field goal? It'd be a 52-yard field goal. Do you punt or do you go for it on 4th down? They're going for it on 4th down.
4th and 6.
See what John Robinson is yelling to his defense. Watch out for him with that cadence to try and draw you off sides. McMahon says, I don't think we fooled him. We better take time out and talk this one over because we're 4th and 6, and that 30-second clock was down to 3.
On the field.
So, 7:55 remain in the 3rd quarter. Head coach of the Bears, Mike Ditka, 4th year, 2nd consecutive year in the playoffs. Tell me a little bit about his thinking here.
Well, I know what he's thinking. You know, if you punt the ball and it goes into the end zone, they get it on the 20, you only picked up 15 yards. The field goal is 52 yards with a funny wind. You may as well take a shot at it. Your defense is playing well.
They need 6 at least. They put Peyton in motion. McMahon on a sprint out, and he can do it. They got Peyton, and they got the 1st down. The gamble paid off. A gain of 13. They only needed 6.
Hey, that's not a bad combination. You know, let your quarterback take the ball, let him sprint out here, have blockers out in front of him. Now he can run or he can find someone open. Who does he find open but Walter Payton, who knew exactly where the 1st down marker was, got up beyond it, so when McMahon did see him and hit him, he had the 1st down.
1st and 10, Bears from the Ram 22. 7:47 left in the 3rd quarter. Here's Peyton, hit behind the line of scrimmage by Reggie Doss and Mike Wilcher for a loss. Here's Kevin Butler, rookie from Georgia, loosening up.
He's wearing Fensick's jacket. Fensick's probably looking around. Where's my jacket? The kicker got your jacket. You know, Reggie Doss has done a good job today in that run.
He sure has. The Ram defense has done a good job.
Really have. They've been very, very solid. They need a big play or a break from their offense.
McMahon again sprints out. Throws for Galt, touchdown. What a great throw from McMahon. Touchdown pass of 22 yards. What a throw from Jim McMahon.
And remember, it all went with Mike Ditka's decision to go for it on 4th down. He could have gone for the field goal. He could have gone for the punt. He said, baloney. Let's get that 1st down. Now we go for the shot of the touchdown. We can put him away right here.
Fuller holding. Butler for the extra point. Bears move in front 17-0.
That was a good pass pattern down there by Willie Gall. He ran what we call a post corner. He starts into the post, then he goes back out to the corner as McMahon rolls. McMahon rolls left as the blockers. What a shot he put in there to Willie Gall. And running to his left and throwing on the left to his run. Let's watch it here. Here's Willie Gall here. He's going to start up, start in, and back here. McMahon gets a ball, comes out here on the run, hits him right here. Now watch Gall. You see the motion come out here? Gall starts in. See him come in there? Then he goes back out to the corner. McMahon reads him all the way and zips that touchdown to him. Now what does he do? Shake. Oh, boy. Doink. Give me a one right in the head there. I love it. and celebrate.
This crowd doesn't know that. The Bears pitching another shutout. 6:56 left in the third quarter as Butler kicks off. That's Ron Brown, a yard deep in the end zone. And now around to the outside. And with that great speed, Brown stays on his feet and spins outside the 40 to the 42 before Jim Morrissey brings him down. A 45-yard kickoff return by Ron Brown.
Hey, Willie Gault was the safety man. He was the guy that was supposed to tackle Ron Brown if he breaks away. Gault was waiting. He was one man away from it, and he finally got blocked. Watch Gault. He's staying there. He's saying, where is he? Where is he? Now Norwood Van, number 51, is going to come in. Watch him take Gault. Takes him right out of bounds. Gault gets in a reversal. Says, hey, I'm an offensive guy. Hey, I run fast. I don't fight.
What do you want me to do?
I'll race the guy to the end zone.
Brock retreats. Ooh, Henry Ellard makes the reception, and Wilbur Marshall put a hat on him, a heavy hat.
Yeah, they're going to be barking like dogs out there. Let's listen to that one again.
That hurt up here. Brock gives to Dickerson. Dickerson whirls to the outside and picks up a first down at the Bear 45. Singletary after a gain of 6.
I'm sure he wanted to go for that fourth down play, and I'm sure he wanted to throw that ball in the end zone, and I'm sure he wanted to wear that headband again this week. Last week he got a letter from the league office that he couldn't wear it, so he wore it. This week they got another he couldn't do it, so he wore it again. He just changed what was on the front of it.
Here's Dieter Brock with time. Pass is picked off by Leslie Frazier. Frazier with the interception. Intended for Ellard. Some sort of a discussion, but it's Bears ball.
No foul on the play.
No foul.
No foul.
Leslie Frazier looked like he was there all the way and comes underneath for the interception. Watch him. He's on Duckworth there. He's running now. Instead of following behind him, look, he takes the interception angle all the way. He got underneath Duckworth, then he was running with him, and he got the reception. The interception. I'll tell you, there's a guy, I think he's one of the reasons for the success of this Bear defense.
Well, you have to have good cornerbacks in order to be able to play that defense.
Well, you leave them out there naked on an island by themselves, those two corners, and if they can't cover man-to-man, you can't play that defense.
McKinnon is back, by the way. He had a bruised leg, but apparently it's okay. Here's Suey straight ahead. Collins on the stop after a gain of 6. Look at that. Think they don't play tough in the second half?
Well, you know, maybe they're the ones that wear you down. I know the Rams thought that they would be able to come in and run and wear this Bear defense down.
Well, they got 2 today.
Otis Wilson there, he's talking about New Orleans already. They got some work here to do before they go down there.
4:40 left in the third quarter. McMahon back to Payton. Payton is stopped before he gets back to the line of scrimmage by Doug Reed. Refrigerator's ordering some more supplies.
What he's doing, yeah, he's saying for the post game, look, when that game's over, I want a good supply in there. We got to refuel this thing. What would the refrigerator be talking about on the phone? I mean, usually they talk about coverages, adjustments. That's Steve McMichael talking to him now. Maybe they're talking about offense. If they get down there, they're going to put him in on the goal line package.
Both of them?
Both refrigerators, you mean?
McMichael.
No, not McMichael.
It's third down. McMahon operates out of the spread. Chased by Jeter. Pass is incomplete. No flags, not yet. Emery Moorhead was the intended receiver. Vince Newsom was the Ram defender.
I still say that this Ram team has played very good defense today, but they just can't get a play. They just can't get anything going. Because they've gotten the ball. The defense has gotten the ball back for the offense. They've done some things for them, and they just can't take advantage of it. But as you say, of all the games we've done, we've never seen a team score a touchdown against the Bears. So that's not easy.
We saw the Jets get 2 field goals, but no one else. And no one's gotten in the end zone. Irvin Johnson back deep. Irvin. And there's your penalty marker. Gentry on the stop.
That flag looked like it came right off the Bears bench or the sideline. Wilbur Marshall was running in with the flag. This Bear defense is so excited, can't wait to get out in the field. They're running in before the return's finished.
Here's Buddy Ryan looking on.
Illegal block, number 33, on the return, 10 yards, first down.
Yeah, that was number 33 is Charles White. He's there on Sean Gale, 23. You see Gale has the position on him, and he can't block him anywhere else, so he just gets that push in the back.
3:40 remaining, third quarter, and the Bears on top 17-0. Pat Summerall, John Madden at Soldier Field, Chicago. The Bears lead at 17-0. Look what they've done in the second half this year. Here at home, 122-19. They've held Eric Dickerson to just 44 yards rushing in 15 carries. Brock back over the head of Tony Hunter. Well over the head.
The refrigerator was close to Brock on that one. The Bears used a different defense there, Pat. They had all 3 of their linebackers right in the middle behind McMichael and Fridge. Maybe that's what they were telling Perry on the phone. They were saying, look, when you see all those guys behind you, don't worry, that's what we're doing. We've got a whole bunch of guys right behind you.
Second and 10 Rams, their own 23. Brock is back again. Richard Dent, Dan Hampton. Brock started to step up and came down in the arms of Dan Hampton. That's the Bears' first sack of the day.
Yeah, Dan Hampton comes on a stunt. You'll see McMichael here work out. Here's Hampton right here. He crosses, comes in right here, works through a bunch of blockers in here, and then gets to him. Watch him, 99. McMichael's comes, see, loops around. Now he comes up. There's 1 blocker, 2 blockers, works right through him, throws Hera aside, and sacks Dieter Brock. He had to go through a lot of guys to get there.
A hard work at sack. Brock out of the pocket. Finally throws it over the head of David Hill. And the Rams once again will have to punt.
When this Bear defense gets its engines going, they can rev them up full speed. They got them revved now.
When they get going, they're pretty tough to stop. Hatcher back to punt, standing at his own 4. Or to go. Back deep for the Bears. Good kick. Or to goal is hammered at about the 37-yard line by Norwood Van. 48-yard kick by Hatcher. Bears take over 1st and 10 at their own 39-yard line. Good kick. 17-0. Soldier Field, Chicago. The Bears lead the Rams 17-0 for the NFC Championship. Their last championship, 1963, at Wrigley Field.
You know, when you talk to the Bears and their coaches, they all say it goes back to last year that this thing all started a year ago this time when they lost to the 49ers in San Francisco. They got so close they didn't get it. They realized what it was all about, and that loss made this year.
McMahon on a quick count. Coming out of the pocket. And scampers out of bounds.
McMahon carried.
Picked up 3 before he went out of bounds. Couldn't find anybody open.
I think what he's doing is laughing at his own decisions. He made about 3 or 4 of them there. He was going to pass. Watch Mark Bortz come out and block Mike Wiltshire, number 54. Watch him see, he makes that block. He takes Wiltshire out of there. Now that opens a lane. Now McMahon says, I'm going to throw. Nope, I'll run. No, I'll throw. No, I'll throw. No, I'll run. No, I'll go out of bounds. He made about 4 or 5 decisions there.
Calvin Thomas has replaced Suey. That's McKinnon, motion man. This is Peyton. Peyton stopped by Jim Collins after a pickup of about 3. Given 4. About 2 shy of the first down.
You talk about a guy that, you know, over the years has done so many things and worked and been the, you know, I mean, when the Bears have lost, when they've been a bad team, this guy's gaining over 1,000 yards. He's in Pro Bowls, but never got the one thing that they all want. That's a championship.
They have checked him pretty well today. Figured in a couple of pass receptions. Here's Thomas. And now the Bears will have to punt. Reggie Doss again made the play.
I know what McMahon's thinking there. He's thinking, you know, we ran that roll to the right side on 4th down. We got it. We ran it to the left for a touchdown. Why didn't we run it there on 3rd down and we wouldn't be punting now? I know he's thinking that.
Maury Buford back to punt, and Johnson and Irvin back deep for the Rams. Buford from his 30. That one will stay up there a while. It looks like the wind is, well, it had some effect, but it winds up taking that bare bounce again. Inside the 20. Down by Cliff Thrift. Again, confusion. The Rams center wound up with the ball, and there come the penalty flags.
That was a late flag. That had to be something way after the play.
Defense number 99. 5 yards, still 1st down.
Yeah, but how come the flag came out so late? Encroachment, that's number 99, and that happens well before the play. Now he starts, now he goes. Now the flag comes way late on that one. I mean, encroachment is something you do before the ball starts.
Early. 1st and 5. Rams have the ball their own 23. Less than a minute left, 3rd quarter. Brock back to throw. Going deep for Duckworth. And Frazier almost picked it off.
And Refrigerator almost buried Dieter Brock right here at Soldier Field. Well, I'll tell you, did he get him after he threw the ball? Oh, boy, that is a big load. Watch the Fridge here. He comes in here when Brock throws the ball. He puts him right in on the curb. Now that had to be a big deal coming on. You watch him here, he throws it. There's a Refrigerator right there. Now just him landing at the end on you. I mean, Yeah, that's like, getting caught under a truck or something.
Who knows how much he weighs. He admits to 308. Here's Barry Redden. First carry for him, and it doesn't get much as Dan Hampton makes the stop. That's the formation they use when they run their option play.
And that was the option play there. That was going to be an option. That's why Redden carried it for the first time. It's set up. We'll see Redden come here with the ball. Now Dickerson is trailing here. Redden's going to try an option right on this guy. If he comes, then he'd pitch. If not, he's going to run it. The end guy here is Otis Wilson. Now watch him. See the guard pulls. He takes a hand off. Otis Wilson comes right now. Dickerson was behind him. He didn't even have a chance to try and run the option. See Dickerson coming into it.
That's the end of the third quarter. No flag. That's just the end of the third quarter with the score. The Bears 17, the Rams nothing. Ram ball their own 25. 3rd and 3. Bears had a blitz going. Pass was intended for Ellard. Brock had no chance to set up. Marshall was coming. William Perry was close.
I'll tell you, he was close. A lot of people think the offensive people say, well, Perry really isn't a good defensive player. He is a good defensive player. He's big. He handles that middle. And as Mike Ditka says, you watch a lot of things happen around him. And they do. He's always getting penetration.
Hatcher standing back at his own 10. Keith Ortego back at the Bear 40. Ortego waving, get away from it. It finally bounces out of bounds. Bears take over.
You know what I was talking about, Pat? Watch this. Here's Fred. He's going against Ken Hill here, but watch how he takes it, and he takes a pile and just knocks it back. Then a lot of things can happen on the other side of that, but watch him go as he's here. He has a good take on him and stance. Now watch him just take Hill, just push it. Push, 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 push another guy, Dickerson trying to get him. But see how piles and stuff happen around him. I mean, he gets into that backfield.
Big William Perry, 300 plus.
Yeah, when he gets it going one way, if you're the other way, it's hard to stop it.
He's a good athlete. Reitman in motion, and McMahon gives to Payton, who slips down. Picked up maybe a yard. That was an interesting story. Dale Hatcher, the Ram punter, went to Clemson with William Perry and was telling us what a good diver he is.
Yeah, I guess they have a good swimming and diving team at Clemson, and when Perry would go out to dive, students and people would come from all over to watch him, and he would hit that board and darn near snap it down. Then when he hit the water, it would all come up over him, and people would just marvel. The diving coach said he could have made the team as a diver.
That's right, and he's a good basketball player. Here's McMahon back to throw. Down he goes for the 3rd time of the day by Doug Reed. 14:02 left to play. 1 quarter away from the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't know if McMahon is hurt or not. He's limping around. Maybe that could just be the result of what happens over the years, T&E, but he gets hit. He's trying to spin out. You see, and he gets that left leg twisted. He got up limping. I think he's shaking it off. That's the one that was his bad one. That's the one that he has the big brace on.
Neither one of them, neither knee is really 100% though.
But the left one's his real bad one. He calls that his bionic knee.
Back to throw again. And now he got the screen pass out to Payton. Payton has not much room to roam. Eckern out there along with Leroy Irvin to make the stop. McMahon upset with himself, or perhaps didn't like that selection of plays.
I'll guarantee you that's what it was. He didn't like that play call. And he said, what the heck are we calling that for on 3rd and long? Yeah, he and Mike Ditka went for, remember that period of time? Yeah. They went for 1 month and didn't talk to each other. Not a word was exchanged between the two. I'll bet you right now that he's not. See, he goes and talks to guys like linemen, gets close to the heater, talks to Richard Dent, defensive guys.
Line drive kick. Goes out of bounds, and the Rams will take over. But again, they have a long way to go. They'll start from their own 29-yard line. A 47-yard punt by Buford. Ditka says he thinks half of the things that McMahon does are just to aggravate him. 17-0 they lead. That's a friend of yours, John.
There's Bill Murray. I remember when that hat that he's wearing, I have no idea where he got it, but I think that's an old football helmet. That's the way they used to wear it. Remember, they were like leather helmets, and then they would roll them up and put them in their back pockets when they weren't playing. Bill Murray would wear that. He's down there coaching. He's probably taking credit for that call, that touchdown call, that roll left post corner.
Ought to be flying an airplane with two wings. Here's Dickerson. There's nothing there for him. He only got a couple of yards. Singletary again, the first man there. He got 3. Fencing with an assist.
You know, guys like Bill Murray were Chicago Bear fans for years, you know, when they always had to defend it. I mean, they were Cubs fans and Bear fans, and, oh, you're from Chicago, they laugh at him. Now that they're winning, Bill Murray's out there in the sideline. Wonder how he got down there anyway.
He wore that hat.
I know, the league office won't like that, and they won't like McMahon's headband, but they aren't going to like that either.
2nd and 7 it is. This is Hunter. Moving and Brock back to throw. They get it outside to Hunter, and nobody's even close. Tony Hunter out to about the 47. Duerson tripped him up after a gain of 15.
I'm surprised Tony Hunter cut back to the inside because there was no one on the outside. He caught the ball. There was no one at all out there, and it looks like he cuts back in. Here he is in motion. When he comes out here, no one covers him, and he turns the ball up. But then he turned it back in. Watch him. He comes in motion, fakes the block, comes out here. There's no one out here at all. Now, why he just didn't stay out here in the sideline? He cut back into double D. David Duerson.
Off first down, they pitch back to Dickerson. Dickerson tries to find some room, and there's just nothing there. Otis Wilson chased him out of bounds. They have kept Eric Dickerson, the great Eric Dickerson, under control.
Well, you know, the last 2 times they played, or both times, Eric Dickerson gained over 100 yards on this team. Of course, you know what he did last week, that 248. That's a full day's work. And that's what the Rams had planned to do today. They wanted to do the same type of thing. Carry the ball 40 times, wear them down, wear them down, wear them down. But I think the Bear defense has been doing the wearing down.
11 minutes and 13 seconds left to play. They fake to Dickerson. Throw outside to Brown. And he dropped it. Trying to set up this quick screen to the speed.
That was one of the things the Rams put in for this game, that, you know, the quick screen, the type of stuff that wouldn't be bothered by the wind, where you could get it to your fast guys out in front. Of course, that plan didn't work when you dropped the ball, but the idea was to get the ball out quickly to Ron Brown, get blockers in front of him, and him going down the field.
3rd down and 11.
You know, did you see Perry, though, wearing that bathing suit that those divers wear, like Greg Louganis, those little Speedo bikini deals?
Somehow I can't imagine it would be little. Brown in motion. Brock under pressure. Gets away from a couple, but not all. Perry finally gets there. 2nd sack of Dieter Brock. Again, the Rams will have to punt. Ortego standing back at the 22-yard line. This is the 9th punt. And it goes out of bounds. Beg your pardon, the 7th punt.
You know, we always talk about stunts. Let's watch one. Here's Perry. This is how they got there. He goes first. Hampton, he comes second across. Now Hampton gets there first. Dieter Brock has to get, and then Perry falls on him. Watch the two guys cross. See Refridge go first. Hampton comes around. Hampton's free. He makes Dieter Brock put the ball down, spin around. Now here comes the Refrigerator and a whole bunch of other guys. Holy moly.
Wilbur Marshall, the Refrigerator, full package.
They all met right at number 5.
10:40 left to play. Peyton gets the carry. Chase, Leroy Irvin. After a pickup of just a couple. Mike Wilcher.
You know, all the hoopla around this game about the game between, Dickerson on one side, Peyton on the other, then the two great running, but really hasn't turned into that.
No, it hasn't. Both of them have been checked.
Both defenses have done a good job of checking them. You know, they both went in. If that's the thing they had to do, they've done that part of it well. I think the difference here is Jim McMahon.
Few snow flurries are starting to appear. The clock now shows less than 10 minutes. Second down and 9. Meisner, who leaps into the Bear backfield. Flags are down.
Greg Meisner, the nose tackle, he has a call. If he thinks it's pass, he yells turkey, turkey, turkey. Run, he yells rabbit, rabbit, rabbit.
Defense, 6-9.
He didn't have any call from when to start the play, though.
He called a rabbit for himself and started to run.
But if he started, Hilgenberg didn't move the ball. He just started. He grabbed McMahon there. McMahon saying, no, no, no. Peyton goes over to help McMahon, hold McMahon up and grab Meisner off. I would like to hear that conversation between those three guys.
Perhaps you can see some of those snow flurries, which have just started to appear.
I think it's only fitting. A championship game in Chicago, there should be some snow.
I agree. McMahon back to Peyton. He is met right at the line of scrimmage. That'll bring up a third down situation. Jeter was the first man in white to hit him.
Yeah, as I said before, that's one thing. You know, the Rams really did a good job of shutting down that running game. We see Gary Jeter, he takes an inside rip. He comes inside a covert, rips him with his right hand, and he's the guy that gets the penetration, the first guy there.
This is one of the few places that they cheer bad weather.
Yeah, but it should. I mean, the elements owe it to Chicago to be here today. Snow should be here today. You have to show up.
It's Peyton again, and he did not get the first down, and the Bears will have to punt again. They lead 17-0. There is our cameraman on the opposite side of the field.
Hey, he's way up on top. I mean, you talk about elements. There's a man in the elements.
It's our buddy Herman Lang. He spent a lot of years in blimps and stuff like that. It's okay with him. He doesn't care.
Hell, these guys don't either. But I think this game has everything. I mean, you know, Chicago and the Bears and Soldier Fields and monsters and big guys and tough and guys in short sleeves and snow and everything. The only thing wrong is it got all that stuff and artificial turf.
Too bad we can't pick the All-Madden team today. Bears batted out of bounds. They were hoping for a roughing the kicker call against the Rams. They didn't get it. Punt was 26 yards. The Rams take over. They just haven't been able to get anything going on offense. 7:51 left to play. The Bears lead it 17-0. There is our location. They are saying the dream is over. The wait is over. The dream came true. And you can see the snow down in front of us. It's not over yet, but there's 7:51 left to play, and the Bears lead at 17-0. Think he knows what the score is? Back goes Dieter Brock under pressure. Intended for Henry Allard, incomplete. Richardson was with him. Everybody in this crowd just roaring and looking with anticipation. Well, not everybody's roaring.
Or not everybody's looking.
Second and 10 Rams. They have it at their own 33. It's been a long wait for these Bear fans. Guys like Butkus and Sayers who never made it. This game's for them. That's Barry Redden over the left side. And the guy who just made the tackle went through a lot of years of frustration here too. Gary Fensick. 8 dark years when there were no playoffs. And he and his buddy Doug Plank, after whom the 46 defense was named.
I'll tell you, there's a real contradiction in Gary Fensick. I mean, here's a guy, you know, smooth, nice guy, good-looking guy, sweet guy, Mr. Clean, graduate of Yale University. But I'll tell you, when you get that, well, he gets that look in his eye, and he's a Jekyll and Hyde. He's a different guy.
Brock has the ball batted straight up in the air. Nobody can see it. Steve McMichael had a shot at it, and he had a touchdown if he had come up with it. They just couldn't find it way up in the air.
Tell you, Steve McMichael is a guy that's been playing this last part of the season on just guts. Watch him here. He has a bad knee. He's going to have surgery after the season. He has, you know, foreign particles in there. Looks like it hit Dewerson right in the face. Bounced up. McMichael's going to, I got it, dropped it. And his guys are giving, there's Hampton saying, oh, you had it.
Dewerson is back deep for the Bears this time. Gonna let Hatcher's punch bounce, and it goes out of bounds at about the 11. And 6:48 now left to play. The snow continues, and the crowd continues to yell, and the Bears lead it. And it looks like they're headed for New Orleans.
I think they head first for Champaign, Illinois. I think they're going to work this first week at the University of Illinois and go down to New Orleans.
McMahon gives to Peyton. Peyton finds very little running room. It's been that way all day. The leader of the defense, Samurai, Mike Singletary.
Well, yeah, you're talking about different personalities. He's the same type of guy. You see him off the field. He has the glasses, very articulate, very nice guy, soft-spoken. You see him on the field, he's wild. He's wild.
Got the button-down collar, the tie.
Yeah, he'll wear a striped suit on you.
Carry a briefcase.
Boy, but I'll tell you, he could change from that briefcase to a look in his eye.
Second and 10 at the 11. And McMahon's going to go to work. He does. Intended for Reitman. Too far in front.
Hey, there's another guy that's having a good game today, Jim Covert, number 74. You know, he's had it every game that we've seen. Last week it was against Leonard Marshall, and he's had it against Jeff Cote. He's had it against all those guys. He's the captain of this Bear offense.
He's another of those that was drafted in 1983.
Yeah, that's quite a tribute, you know, for a guy just to be in his third year, be in the Pro Bowl, and be the captain.
McMahon will operate this time out of the spread. Snowing a little harder. Dennis Gentry was the ball carrier, and now the Bears again will have to punt as Jim Collins made the tackle. Look at this.
There's the only guy I've said that's on the All-Madden team is Hampton. He got the worst looking hands. He got a left finger. He was showing me the other night, you know, that he can't bend and has grafts and stuff in it. So if they go to the Super Bowl, he's going to have him measure that finger, get the ring for that left ugly finger, and then have it melted down and put it on his right. Get a lot more gold that way, he said.
That finger of his looks like an elbow.
Yeah. That's what these guys think about. That's how they think. They got elbows for fingers.
Buford gets it off the side of his foot. The Rams have trouble handling, and Johnson gets it out of bounds in Bear territory at about the 47. 37-yard punt, 4-yard return. 5:08 now left to play. 17-0 Bears. Snow continues to fall. It's a little bit harder now. This, appropriately enough, is Bear weather. This is really what they were hoping for.
They like to do that, those linemen, get out there, snow, cold, windy, and get those shirt sleeves, roll the sleeves up, get those big arms hanging out there. They got them all pumped up, big old arms on them. But let's see if you can see those fingers. Those are bad-looking hands. I mean, he bends his hand, and only a couple of things bend. I mean, some stay straight and a few bend. He said, I hate to shake hands. I keep my hands in my pockets a lot.
There have been some years of frustration for him around here, too. And he's a tremendous player.
Well, he's one of those guys that's in the same group as a Howie Long.
Yep.
He's kind of a player's player, man's man, that type of guy. Can play anywhere, up and down the line, inside, outside, in. Play the run, play the pass, block a kick, play the whole game.
They're loving it. Just over 5 minutes left to play. Brock goes back to throw. Going deep for Brown. Frazier right there. Good play.
I still say, and we talked about it before, this 46 defense, they commit 8 guys, that you have to have guys like Leslie Frazier. Frazier can go, watch him, Ron Brown, maybe the fastest guy in the game. He just mirrors him, just runs step for step, doesn't interfere, gets good position, sees the ball, is always where he's supposed to be.
Remember that interception we saw him make against Green Bay?
The greatest play by a defensive back I've ever seen in my life.
2nd and 10, they give to Redden. Redden will have enough, I believe, for a Ram first down before Duerson and Fensick bring him down. A pickup of 11. And they will move the sticks, I believe.
One thing, they popped that right through there between the line. They thought maybe they would be able to get a little of that inside running. Of course, now I think it's too little, too late. But it goes down.
4.5 minutes, I was just going to say.
Yeah, I was just saying, I think the Rams are this year like the Bears were a year ago against the 49ers. And the Bears were like the 49ers were last year.
Same record. To Dickerson. Otis Wilson. They're in a hurry. A loss of 2. Even in a great year last year, the 49ers, no team has ever recorded back-to-back shutouts in playoff history. That's some accomplishment. And again, don't want to say it too many times, but we still haven't seen anybody in that Bear end zone in the 5 games we've done.
There's Buddy Ryan. He's the engineer or the architect again of this defense. And those players all love Buddy. He doesn't even call him by name, just calls him by number and nickname.
Here's Redden again. Otis Wilson and Wilbur Marshall made the stop. They've both had tremendous years.
Buddy calls his players like Wilson's, 55 and 50 and so on. And he just tells them, this 22, you do this. He said he started doing that. So when he first came to the Bears, he didn't know the players. He had a 5th defensive back named Walter Scheid,
right,
who he would put in, on the nickel. And he said he forgot his name. He was calling him Bashnagel. He said he'd get 3rd line and say, Bashnagel, Bashnagel. The Bashnagel, he was a receiver.
He was a wide receiver, right. Here's Brock on 3rd down. Chased by Dent and down. And the ball is loose. And the Bears have it. This is Wilbur Marshall with the ball. Marshall. If it's still alive, he's in the end zone. A sack by Dent. And a touchdown by Marshall. different Bear defensive players have scored touchdowns this year. That was Wilber Marshall. Kevin Butler for the extra point. Steve Fuller holding. Like almost everything else, the extra point is perfect.
You know, Richard Dent, he was standing up. You see him, and Tony Hunter just couldn't get out. He wasn't quick enough. He got his hands on him. Dent comes in, grabs Dieter Frank, just strips the ball right out of there. Watch him, he's outside in a stand-up position. See Hunter, 87, tries to turn out, and then Pankey tries to get out. They can't. He just strips and turns him. The ball comes flying out. Wilber Marshall picks it up, finishes it off.
What 2 playoff games Richard Dent has had. Marshall got away from Dickerson, and now he's picked up a convoy.
Richard Dent last week against the Giants played, I think, the most dominant game that I've ever seen a defensive lineman play.
Marshall and Wilson and the Bear fans. There's going to be a hot time tonight, no matter what the weather is. There's Walter Payton. It's been a long time coming. Brown. And a penalty marker is down, and Brown is off to the races. Cut down by Kevin Butler. That might help him make the All-Madden team, but they're going to bring everything back.
Hey, he had to get out there. He was in a foot race. The kicker was in a foot race with Ron Brown to the sideline. Kevin Butler got him. Of course, it didn't count anyway, but it looked good.
I have to believe Kevin Butler might lose that race most every time.
Yeah, but see, he's there. He's telling him how he did it. You know, these guys hardly ever make tackles. Watch, he said, I'm going over, I cut him off at the pass, I throw, and I just went for that knee. I took his knee out, and then he had to go. Wherever the knee goes, you have to go, he's saying. Yeah, they'll brag about that. You know, those guys can kick, make field goals, extra points, point. But I was talking about that tackle they made.
So the Rams are backed up to their 10-yard line. And we have 2 minutes and 24 seconds before the real celebration starts. It's Redden on a draw play. Gooman was the other back that time. Dickerson's out.
I'll tell you, maybe one of the most underrated players on that defense is Wilber Marshall. You know, he's been all over the place.
Not to Mike Ditka.
I mean, he's the guy that has to cover the tight end man-to-man, make the plays, has the speed, makes the hits.
That's a 2-minute warning, and the Bears have it locked. The unusual Bear quarterback, Jim McMahon. $24-0. Bears over the Rams. Brock to Redden again. Redden hammers outside to about the 30. Reggie Phillips on the stop. Most of the regular defenders are out of it. The game, I mean, the defense. Most of the crowd will be out of it. As I said, unusual.
He has a reaction for everything, doesn't he?
That's really his way of saying how happy he is.
That guy's a beaut, but I think of all the guys in the league now that I've met, we've spent time with, I think it'd be more fun coaching him than any of them.
Brock gets it outside to Bobby Duckworth. Duckworth is nailed out of bounds. With Michael and Hampton and the rest getting a little rest. Ron Rivera made the stop. Clock stops with 1:14 left to play. Talking about the Bears going down to Champaign-Urbana to work out. Reason being they have a bubble down there, an enclosed field with artificial turf, like the Superdome.
They're starting their celebrations already. They got dances and songs, and these guys have every, you know, one thing I like about the band, they've had a lot of fun winning. I mean, they have records and they have songs and they have, you know, what do you call those things, videos. And
right, the Super Bowl shuffle.
They've involved the fans. I mean, it's a whole big thing. Everyone's taking part in this deal.
Things are not so happy on the other side of the field. This game, the NFC Championship, worth $18,000 for both teams. And Hampton looking on. And of course, when they go to the Super Bowl, the winner gets $36,000. So it's not without its rewards, other than the acceptance and adoration of the fans.
I'll tell you, but more than the money, though, Pat, the big thing's that ring.
The ball again. Let's say it was dead. Mike Ditka. Clock still running with 30 seconds on the clock. Nobody has left. I mean, the place is still absolutely full.
Well, they've been waiting too long for this to leave. I mean, you don't wait all those years, all this time, and then finally get it and then leave early. They're going to stay. I mean, the players won't even want to leave the field.
That's going to be it. They'll play either Miami or New England. Whoever they play is going to have their hands full. 24-0, the Bears. Now let's go to Brent Busberger.
And finally, a Super Bowl for the Chicago Bears. Walter Payton hugging Virginia and Ed McCaskey, and now linebacker Otis Wilson inside the Bear locker room for the owners of the Chicago Bears. She, of course, is a lovely daughter of the late George Halas, the founder, who was the coach of this team the last time they won a championship. And the fridge, number 72, William Perry. A team of destiny, according to Bud Grant, before this game started. And the former Minnesota Viking coach knew something there, because today they became the first playoff team in history to record back-to-back shutouts. First it was the Giants, and now it's the Rams. And our post-game activities will continue live from Soldier Field in Chicago.
We're getting ready for the trophy presentation because the winner of the National Football Conference receives a George S. Halas trophy, and of course we have the owners of the Bears, Mr. and Mrs. McCaskey, here.
Are we on?
We're on. We're on to make the presentation.
Forgive me, I'm punchy. As I understand it, this is the George Halas Trophy. Virginia's here to present it to the owners. Virginia?
No, to the president. How heavy is that, Mark?
You have it?
First of all, I want to thank all the coaches, the Chicago Bear coaches, and the Chicago Bear players. I'd hate to think that I had to do this over in the other side of the locker room area. I'd also like to thank the Chicago Bear fans here in Soldier Field and in Chicago and everywhere for all the love and support that they've shown to us during this year and especially today. This trophy was established by the National League owners in March of 1984. And last year the 49ers won it, but there wasn't a ceremony like this. The trophy wasn't ready for presentation. So this year we have it right here in Chicago.
Well, Mrs. McCaskey, of course, Virginia McCaskey is George Halas's daughter. Congratulations to you, but you're going to make your presentation, of course, to the president of the Chicago Bears.
Yes, I am. I just want to mention first that a lot of people have said to me this week, or this year, isn't it too bad your dad wasn't here to see this? Well, I think he's been with us the whole season, and I think he's here with us now, and he'll be with us always. And it's a special honor and privilege for me to present this trophy to Ed McCaskey, the chairman of the board, to Michael McCaskey, president of the Bears, and to our coach of the year and every year, Mike Ditka.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Mike, I'm gonna go ahead and move over to your coach, Mike Ditka, who made a lot of critical decisions. Of course, for all, congratulations to you, Mike, and the Chicago Bears for, you know, this an outstanding season and a great victory today.
Well, we did it this way all year as a team, and boy, I say we played hard, and I got to give the Rams all the credit in the world. What a good football team, and what a great, well-coached team John did. We had our work cut out. We made some breaks early and held up.
Well, one break you made for yourself was a crucial play on 4th and 6. You went for it when everybody, you know, I want to know what your thinking was on it. You made the first down and eventually scored. Here's the play right here, 4th and 6, and then we ended up with a touchdown pass to Willie Galt. But
well, the only reason we went for that, Irv, is because I knew that a lot of people would question it. So we just decided to go for it.
Oh, well, it's easy to say that now that you won it, but what did go through your mind at the time?
We wouldn't have gained anything punting the football, really. You know, to punt the ball inside the 10-yard line would have been really a fluke, so we just figured that whether start them on the 20 or start them on the 35, that's all it was. So it was 15 yards gained, so we figured we'd go ahead and try to make it.
All right, Mike, congratulations to you and the Chicago Bears. And, you know, let's go back to Brent Musburger.